Hello nice people, this is the second video. You can find the first one in the description or in the upper right corner of this video. Tip number 16, you probably already know that when you justify when your bishop, after a while you get a message like this that offers you a claim on the county, and sometimes it offers the county or the duchy. But what you may not know is that if you say no thanks, it will keep justifying, and after a while you will get a justification for the duchy. That is useful for the next tip. Your first move should be making a claim on Brittany using the previous tip, the other one on Venice, and the last one on Crete. Why? Because these are three independent kingdoms that are very easy to take with just one duchy on each of them, and that way you are going to give them to three of your family members and make them independent. And that way you're going to be gaining extra 3 dynasty points, and also you're going to have 3 kings as house members, and house members are allies that you can call them for free, and they help you on every war. So it's good to have 5,000 men from your family that work for you for free. If you want to have super heavy cavalry early in the game, consider vacations in Crete. While you take this kingdom, you can move your capital there, embrace their culture, then you can go back to your capital and embrace again your own culture. But while you are here, you are going to be Greek, and being Greek allow you to employ not 3 but 5 heavy cavalry units of a special units called Cataphracts, and also allows you to increase by 2, so it will make size 5 your heavy infantry units. Consider justifying on Sardinia also early on, because it has an Argentine mine that gives you +3 income at level 1, and it's a lot, and actually it's making me 18.5 the castle alone in Cagliari. Next tip, play as tribal the first 20 years, and this is a complex one but is key. If you play as tribal the first 20 years, you're going to have several advantages. As I said 20 years because you're going to pick this right away when you start the game, and thus you need to wait 10 years for the next one and 10 years for the next one, and then you move your capital somewhere else, embrace other culture, and you convert all at the same time to the new culture, for example French, and also mix your culture with Dutch, and you're going to have 5 traditions, Dutch, French culture, and you're going to be feudal in just 20 years. But those first 20 years playing as tribal, you are going to have huge advantages for achieving the first stage of your plan. And the first stage of your plan is acquire 10 kingdoms and give them to your family for acquiring the first achievement decision. That is called Empire of the 10 Kingdoms, and it will help you a lot. Also, you're going to be having 10 house members that will help you all the way. But the advantages of playing early the 20 years as tribal is that instead of having the 3 men at arms regiment that you start, for example, playing as Dutch, and they have only 3 units per regiment, as tribal you can use 5 regiments instead of 3, and they can have 5 units inside instead of 3. That makes that instead of having 900 men at arms, you're going to have 2,500 men at arms. And when you switch to feudal, all those units remain. So you're going to be a feudal with a basic army of 2,500. Not only that, the tribal armies have much better units. For example, the horse archer, that is a special case. It requires a whole tip to talk about the horse archers, but they are so great because they have not only a huge impact in battle, but also they have a huge piercing bonus. That means that after the battle they catch all the enemy fleeing army and they capture them all and kill them all, and at the same time they capture their leaders. So in a single battle you're going to be gaining lots of war score, and probably you're not going to be needing to siege. You're going to be gaining more piety, more everything, and you're going to have far less losses. These units are just great. You only need to play tactical, move always on plains, use a general with the expert on open terrain, and avoid mountains and forests. If you keep playing there, these units are just devastating. The second huge advantage for the tribal army is that you don't need to justify. So to take those 5 kingdoms, you just declare on this duchy, take it, the next duchy, take it, the next duchy, no question asked. You just declare, and with your huge army you are going to smash them very easily. A great start as tribal is to play as the 7 Hungarian tribes. I didn't know that the country Hungary came from them. They had a war style of the Mongols. They were horse archers, and a nomad tribe, and they moved to Hungary in the richest plains, and they were super great for their horses, and they settled and transformed themselves to feudal. It's a great start because you start with 3,000 horse archers at your disposal that will allow you to settle anywhere you want. If you start as tribal, prestige is far more important than money. You buy just everything with prestige, and you should give every county you acquire to your family, because if you have this tradition in your cultural tribal unity, means that per each county you give to your family, you're going to gain 75 prestige, 150 per each duchy, and so on. This is a very important tip if you play as tribal. When you attack another duchy, you are going to be asked for prestige. But if you change religion, for example, if you plan to attack a Catholic country and you change religion to Catholic, you're going to be spending piety instead. Let me demonstrate. You are going to declare sorry on this guy here, and they ask me for prestige. Since I have a Catholic duchy already, a Catholic county in my domain, I'm going to swap religion very cheaply. You need to have at least one county as Catholic, and the change is very cheap. You go click here and you Catholic. We are going to accept here, down here, and we are now Catholic, and we are going to declare again duchy. And as you can see, now we are spending piety and very little amounts of piety. And piety is very easy to harvest as a tribal. So a very important trick: change to the religion of the person that you are attacking to. Another tip for gaining prestige: most people believe that winning battles and winning wars gives you prestige, and it's false. It gives you fame. But there is an exception. If you fight raiders, those battles give you prestige. If you are raiding and you are attacked and you win, it also gives you prestige. And also fighting battles from your allies and winning, that gives you prestige, a lot of prestige. So it's very important that you make an alliance with a warmonger or a county a noble that is usually in trouble, and you fight his wars, and that way you are going to be making a lot of prestige. Now a very important tip: when you have a huge army and you want to win a quick battle, for example against a rebel army, a raider army, or just a single county next to you, for example you want to defeat this county, maybe you only need a couple of thousand of men, and let's say that you press F3 and you're going to make a rally point near the target, and now you click the rally point and you press raise all here, and that will raise a bunch of army in the vicinity. And since I have 50,000 men, let's unpause, and they will start gathering. This gathering could take weeks because I need to gather men from all over the world. So a very quick way to stop this and just use these 5,000 men that are there, you control click and right click the target. You select them all, you hold control and you click target. That will stop gathering troops and they will start moving just right at that moment. That is important because if you want to catch a raider army here and you wait until you're 50,000 men and there, he's going to be about 1 week from there. So just gather 1,000 and control click, right click, and the troops will start moving instantly. Early in the game you want to be quite precise with your moves, especially if you are playing tribal, because each skill that you have will cost you prestige, and if you are feudal it will cost you money. So you should use some degree of tactical. If the enemy is attacking your castle, you can counterattack at that specific moment, and if the enemy is still on the siege process, you will be the defender. So I usually wait for the enemy to try to siege one of my castle and I attack him at that moment. Usually when you start you will have problem filling your court positions. I gave a tip that is called call for physician. That will bring two options and you right click and you invite them to your court. Usually if you have a court and you put your living quarters to level 5, they will agree because they will be very comfortable at your court. But what about if you are very small and you don't have a court? Well, you should check your guests. So you go to courtiers and here you will find guests at your courts, and they are much cheaper to invite, recruit to court. And for example, this one costs you just 3 coins, is almost nothing. And if she is a female, much better because you are going to marry her with someone far more useful, like a general, a fighter, or whatever you need. So the tip is check in courtiers and you find here the guests and you can invite them very cheap. Also, if you are a tribal, the champions are far more cheap. You press F3, go here, and here you will find people to invite. This one, for example, this one, recruit, level 17, and he's just 5 coins, very cheap. Also, the people finder is your best friend for filling court positions. You have a filter where you can add genius, gregarious, whatever you need, and all the requirements below. I usually have a filter that it's called unmarried, and that's are the people that is not married in my court, and I click the females or the male, depending on the type of courtier I need, and choose to marry. Let's pick this one, marry. And now here you can pick the filter for a gregarious, for a court physician, or the position that you want, and that way you are going to speed up the process. Also, I'm going to leave you below the wiki. I'm leave you on the wiki address with the court positions, and here you will find all the requirements and the point and you give any of the characteristics that you are going to need. So you filter, for example, for the court jester, for gregarious, stubborn, and then you sort by the diplomacy skill. And that's how you get the excellent people for all the positions. So you will have reached number 1. Hope you have enjoyed so far. And as you can see, I try to go in depth in the games and find something extra. I usually do that with Heart of Iron, and in the upper right you will find some other bunch of tips related to Crusader Kings. I've made about 3 videos, but don't go a bit more in detail. You click there and you find a playlist of Stellaris, Hearts of Iron, Crusader Kings, Europa Universalis, and so on. If you have something new that I missed, please let it down in the comments so everyone learns your tips. Thanks and bye bye.